Chinese food is famous worldwide. I'm sure you like to eat it yourself. In fact, it's America's favorite takeout. But in the food industry, China is known for their bad practices. Many foods coming from China are fake, toxic, or worse. Now, you may think only Chinese people have to eat this stuff and try and avoid it. But no, it's coming to a store near you. 90% of US supermarkets import foods from China. So today I'm going to inform you of certain dangerous foods coming from China you must avoid eating. I'm Charlie, and today we're going to look at 10 fake Chinese foods you need to avoid buying. But before I lose all my social credit, why not subscribe and press the notification bell too? Coming up first, we have plastic rice. Rice is a staple of Chinese food and Chinese culture. China actually produces over 1 billion metric tons of rice every year. But sadly, some rice in China is not genuine and is actually made of plastic. Basically, the rice is made from potatoes mixed with an industrial resin. The rice is then sold as just regular rice, and it's very hard to digest. In fact, eating 3 bowls of it is equal to eating a plastic bag. But how can you tell if your rice is fake or real? Well, it's easy. People have developed a trick to test. All you need to do is hold up a grain of rice and burn it with a match. If you smell burning plastic, then this is fake rice. But if you don't, then it's real. Also, fake rice will dissolve in hot oil. So throw a couple of grains in some hot oil and see if it dissolves or not. In 2016, over 100 bags of plastic rice were seized in Nigeria. It was originally from China, and thousands of Nigerians could have eaten it if it wasn't seized. Next up is rubber eggs. Eggs are another popular Chinese fake food which looks really realistic. The fake eggs look like the real McCoy, but they are not. Instead, they're made with gelatin and food coloring. The shell of the eggs is also made of wax. And because it's made of gelatin, the yolks are actually bouncy and rubber-like. Everyone knows eggs crack when you drop them, but these ones simply bounce out of the pan. Next up is cement walnuts. Imagine this, you buy a bunch of walnuts and take them home excited to eat them. But then when you crack the hard shell, you find something even more hard inside. That is the reality for many shoppers in China and worldwide. In Zhengzhou City Market in China, walnuts stuffed with cement have become commonplace. And now these walnuts may be being shipped worldwide. Basically, what's happening is vendors are taking empty walnut shells and then putting cement inside them. They also fill up the shell with paper and then seal it closed. These cement nuts are then sold, making the vendors a big profit. After all, they're literally selling you food scraps and cement. They also use a small amount of cement, so it seems like it's a walnut inside. This actually makes a lot of sense because in China, walnuts are very expensive. They're actually around 50 times more expensive than they cost in the USA. Next up is industrial salt. Everyone likes a bit of cheap table salt on their fries. But if your salt says made in China, then make sure you look into its origins. Anyone who knows about chemistry knows that salt does not just mean table salt. In fact, salt is a mineral comprised of sodium chloride. Well, some Chinese vendors have begun selling industrial salt as table salt. First off, this salt does not really taste like normal table salt. Instead, it's rock salt, which is around 100 times less expensive than table salt. Vendors simply take industrial salt used for construction and put it in a container of table salt. They then sell that for a big markup, but it's very dangerous if you consume it. Consuming this could lead to a heart attack or a stroke, so avoid it at all costs. Next up is honey. One thing China is known for is fake honey. Some honey coming from China is totally authentic and delicious. But in the Jinan province alone, 70% of the honey is fake. There's so much fake honey, there's actually 2 different types of it. The first is known as adulterated honey. This is where vendors blend honey with sugar, beetroot, and rice syrup. But the second is even more fake. It's made with alum, sugar, water, and food coloring. They then mark up the price tenfold. And you should definitely avoid especially the second fake honey, which includes alum. That's because if you have enough alum in your body, it can make you very ill. Next up is fake wine. Chinese authorities are desperately trying to crack down on a big problem in China, which is fake wine. Wine sellers from around the world will pay thousands, sometimes millions of dollars for expensive and rare wines. But many vendors are simply making up fake labels and then putting cheap wine in the bottles. The sellers will scour eBay and buy very expensive bottles and labels. But then they'll fill the wine bottles up with fruit juice and alcohol, or sometimes just a cheap wine. Many of the people who buy this stuff don't even realize, as they buy the wine to collect, not to drink. However, American billionaire Bill Koch spent $35 million investigating his wine collection. From this, he found out he'd bought $400,000 worth of fake wine from China. So make sure you only buy expensive wines from official vendors. Next up is fake beef. There is an abundance of pork in China, but not so much for beef. That's why there's actually a high market value placed on beef, so vendors have come up with a way to fake it. Many vendors actually take cheap pork and alter it to make it taste and look like beef. They simply get pork and dip it in beef extract and glaze it. They do this for about 1 hour, but it makes them a lot of money. Now, you may think this is just bad business practice and people being greedy, but doctors said it can also cause deformities, poisoning, or cancer. So avoid fake Chinese beef at all costs. Next up is peas. This may be a shock to you, but if you buy peas imported from China, they could be fake. The fake peas are actually made from a combination of metabisulfite, snow peas, soybeans, and green food dye. Metabisulfite can cause cancer, so make sure you don't have it in any of your products. But if you think you may have fake peas in your home, then don't worry, there are some telltale signs. First off, when you boil the peas, the water may turn slightly green. This is because the food dye will be coming out of the peas. And also the peas won't become very soft, they'll remain pretty hard. So if you notice these trends in your peas, then do not eat them. And finally on the list, we have fake lamb. Lamb or mutton is a delicious meat everyone loves. The only downside is the price is very high. Well, that's why some vendors in China have made a fake version of mutton. They make it using rats, minks, and foxes. In fact, Chinese authorities have been investigating this, and in one 3-month period, 900 people were arrested. Authorities also seized 20,000 tons of this fake meat. Also, the meat had serious levels of E. coli, which can take your life. So make sure you avoid fake lamb and buy it only from great vendors. But now it's time to make your opinion heard. Vote in the poll in the top right corner which was the most shocking fake food you need to avoid buying. I think it's the cement walnuts, as I can't believe they're really putting cement in nutshells. If you want some more amazing videos, then check out my second channel. There'll be a link to that on screen in a moment. But as always, thanks for watching. Check out some more videos on screen right now. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you haven't already, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to Top 10s.